Thank you everyone for coming. Music video was full, that's why you're all here, I guess. I'm going to interview today two DPs. One is Piotr Sobociński. Thank you.
Hi.
Hi. Winner of a Golden Frog 2021. Are you? Project Hyacinth?
Yes.
Yeah, so welcome. Just like your father and your grandfather and your brother. So all four have been nominated and rewarded, which is quite special, actually. And we've got Antonio Paladino. He is... Yep. He's showing his first feature here, Dance First, and it's worth the watch. It was this morning, sadly. If you've missed it, try to see it again. It was great. Just want to read the room a little bit. Film students. Woo! Woo! Industry professionals. Yep. Hi, hello. And just enthusiastic filmmakers or people who've got... Yeah, hi. Oh, nice to see you all. So let's start off with watching the trailer of Piotr's feature, Kos, and Antonio's feature, Dance First.
Na krótkim łańcuchu wiorę.
Szlachta na konsiędzie!
Jak to będzie?
Jesteś głodny, Ignacy?
Ja wiem, kto na tym papierze. Wszyscy wiemy. Cała szlachta za nim stanie. Tą razą już go magnackie kurwiesyny nie zdradzą! Wiwat! Generał Kościuszko! Wiwat! Wiwat!
The Nobel Prize for Literature is hereby awarded to Samuel Beckett.
Go get that stuff. You know this is going to be a journey through your shame.
Mr. Joyce, my name is Samuel Beckett. I have a great respect for your work.
Don't do it.
What?
Right.
Only something I was considering.
Dumplings. For supper, we shall be having dumplings.
Stay there. In consideration. Whose forgiveness do you need the most, Suzanne's? You might name your scars after her. I might name my joys as well. You couldn't wait to get through the pleasure to the pain.
Gestapo! Go!
The important thing is not what we write, but how we write. We must write dangerously, Beckett.
Even in that horrible place, they couldn't turn off the stars.
Mr. Beckett? I'm Barbara Bray from the drama department.
It has redefined modern literature.
It is a masterpiece.
You used to tell me when you were going to her. Now you just go.
It was very nice to meet you.
Don't be absurd. You and I, Sam, were not made for victory. We won't survive it.
There was joy. You said, dance first, think later.
Well, congratulations both. They look amazing.
Thank you. Amazing trailer. Really nice.
Likewise.
I want to shoot films like yours, actually.
I want to shoot a film like yours. I mean, your director is a treasure, or you're a very good cinematographer that you were able to convince him not to only use close-ups. I envy you.
I would like to know, obviously your film was in black and white, So my first question is, what was your creative decision to choose to go in black and white for the majority of the film?
Well, it wasn't really my choice. There was something that came up during the very first talk with the director, before I was chosen. When he interviewed me, basically, he mentioned the fact that he might want to shoot this in black and white, which I found a fantastic idea. So he wanted to fight this through, and of course, some streamers, they always want to cover themselves and have like maybe both versions, or only color versions. So it was really clear for James Marsh, my director, to shoot everything, or at least 90% of the film in black and white. And when they said, okay, that's what we're going to do, halfway through the film, this discussion came up again, mentioning that they might want to shoot this in, they might want to finish this in color, and it went up to a point where even Gabriel Byrne said, if we shoot this in cover, if we shoot this in color, I'm not doing any promotion. I might even stop the shoot and stuff,
So what was your reason to shoot with a color sensor? Did that came from finishing in the film in color, or
no.
Where did that came from? Why did you choose to shoot on this particular camera?
Yeah, so basically, I think it's a very big question for any cinematographer, when you want to shoot black and white, how you tackle that challenge, So shooting on film wasn't on the table, and even if that had been an option, I wouldn't have done that film on black and white film. I think I wouldn't be brave enough to do so with those super low light situations that I know we're gonna have. So I know we're gonna go digital, and I made calls. I called around for black and white sensors, and one camera was available. It was in Los Angeles, which was quite shocking for me to find out that there's like one camera available in LA with a color sensor, with a black and white sensor. And that wouldn't be an option anyway for us. We had a very limited budget. We had £3 million for that film. We only had 25 shoot days to finish this film. So getting a camera from LA would have been not an option at all. So I knew I have to stay local, and I knew there's no black and white option available anyway, and so I knew I have to go with a color sensor. And then knowing that we're going to have scenes at wartime apartments in power cut, it was like scripted like this, bars during power cut. So when you read this in a script, all your alarm clocks go on, and you think, oh, okay, so it's going to be dark, So I was looking for a camera basically that is, that is so sensitive. That I can, go to bed and sleep peacefully without waking up 3 o'clock at the night with a panic attack, fearing that the next day I run into a scene which is black on the screen, So basically, that all thing made it clear for me that I have to shoot with a camera that goes easily up to 5,000 ASA. And I made phone calls with other colleagues. I really like to call colleagues when I run into problems, when I look for lenses or something. I always try to call my friends, DOPs, and get their input. And Frank Riebe, Tom Tickwer's DOP in Berlin, said, dude, I'm in the grading suite with Philipp Orgasser, who's probably here today. And I shot one scene in 10,000 ASA, and we're just working with the grain, and it works. And when I heard that I can have a camera that goes up to 10,000 if I need to, my nights were peaceful again,
Yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah.
And Piotr, you have in Dance First, there is a scene with candlelight, which is very similar to something that is happening in your film Kos. There's a lot of use of candlelight. I think we have a little clip of a candlelight scene, which should be coming up. Did I say that?
Well, so we had enough exposure here because this is that's a clip that's day basically, but I need to go back a while to my debut film because I did a lot of candlelight lit films, and the first one was Rose, my debut, which I shot on film, and we had all the rigs and flicker masters and everything because the candle was not enough for the 500 ASA, even if you push. And then I went through Alexa for a movie called Volhynia, No Electricity. And then finally, the reason why I chose Venice 1, I shot the first film in Poland on Venice 1, was a film called The Wedding, which tells a World War II story. But there is no electricity because it's in the village. And this is where for the first time, that I could base my lighting on the light coming from the candles. And when I got the offer to shoot Kos, which is the 1800s, and I knew that the majority of the film happens inside at night. It happens at one night inside where several people sit around the table and they have candles in the middle. So I knew what I want to do, and the clip that you've seen pictures, that there is no film light there. There's just negative fill, the candles, and I actually had several 18Ks coming from the window, but because it was a cloudy day, overcast, and I turned off the lights, and this is also something that you need to learn to do, that it's sometimes better not to use lights. So my challenge in this film was to use available light and practical light sources as my main key light. And Sony Venice 2 was the camera that allowed me to do that. And so you can see the latitude, that clip that you've seen, no film lights. You just, we try to be at a good place at a good time. And that was my camera of choice because of the sensitivity.
You told me a story yesterday about that you tested both Venice 1 and 2, and you found something interesting when it comes to candlelight flares. And
yeah. Maybe we should, I don't know, play the next clip, or I think it might be night. All right, so I could talk about latitude here. We use Sony Venice 2 for this, but so since this starts inside, then my key light was my exposure was really low, because inside it's just the candles. But then when he gets outside, it's a storm. So basically the contrast was that this is about 3 stops under, and then with the lightnings, a lightning strike, which is a 200 kilowatt lamp, we went 8 stops over. And this camera could easily take it. So I used, to be honest, I know I'm at a Sony seminar, but I have to say this. I don't know how many films I've shot on Sony, probably around 5 feature films, and it's my camera of preference, but I kind of don't like the lower base, the 500. I haven't found a film that would match it. This is too clean for me. So I used 3200 ASA as my base, even in the day scenes, just to get that little bit of structure. I think there's another clip, and I'm going to answer your question now. Finally, Rosie. Sorry.
No worry.
So when I did the tests for this film, I had Sony Venice 1 and Venice 2 side by side. I've put a candle in the middle of the table, and because I wasn't using a lot of lights, I had different candles created for me. So I had candles with a longer wick that flickered. I had candles with thicker wick, thinner wick, and they would give you a different light level. Double wick was my biggest lamp. So yeah. And then we adjusted the light by cutting the length of the wick. So we had the flame was either higher or lower. And then I was reflecting the light with different frames. But when I did my initial test, the prep of this film was super fast. I have just finished a project in London. I came to Poland, and 3 weeks later was the shooting begun. So it was like super fast prep. And so on the tests where I had my cameras side by side, I said, okay, we could use both cameras, no problem, because there was only one Sony Venice 2 by the time in Poland. And I said, okay, it's a little bit more sensitive, but basically everything works the same in terms of the picture quality. But then when I had these table scenes and I had candles in front of the actor, behind the actor, and a lot of haze, which was also a factor of lighting, we had a close-up of an actor with his big speech, and so Sony Venice 1 just couldn't take it. You know, the image was all flary, and I knew I'd had to use a lot of post-production, you know, because the contrast was gone and everything. And you know, just it was a lack of camera. So I just I was interested in I've asked my ACs to swap the cameras. So we put Venice 2 in the place of Venice 1 for the close-up, and put the same lens on, and all the flares were gone. The contrast was beautiful, and so it was a wide open lens. We used the Leica MOHs, so you know how we had to use wide open because the light levels were so low. So it's quite an extreme conditions, but this is the moment when I found out how the sensor on Venice 2 is improved comparing to Venice 1.
I think your focus puller must love you for shooting wide open.
Well, he's not here. He's still recovering from that movie.
So that's something that you discovered in your prep. Antonio, I want to ask you something about your prep for Dance First. So going black and white, did you test anything in particularly when it comes to lookup tables before your shoot? And did you apply anything special whilst shooting?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's very important that I see almost like the finished look on my monitor. And some people use whatever monitor, whatever brightness, they just care about the framing. And I'm very particular, almost to the way of being quite anal about the fact that the quality of the monitor that I use on board and all the monitors on set must represent exactly what I'm getting later, you know. So the LUT is a very important aspect to that, because that makes the look of how the film, you know, is represented on your screen. So basically, in my prep, I make sure all the monitors look the same, you know, and I get onto the nerves of everybody, like DITs and producers and everybody. But I said, guys, this is the only thing where I'm being really picky, and that's the choice of the monitors, you know. So I used Flanders monitors, and then of course you try to create a LUT, you know. So somebody sent me, I call around, I call some DITs I know and like, and say, dude, just send me some black and white LUTs, you know. So I put them up in the rental house, and I didn't like it. It wasn't the way I saw it, you know. So then I had an amazing colorist, a local colorist in Budapest, who unfortunately didn't do the grading of the film. I mean, I had a great colorist later, which I met later, so, you know, he was great. But before I met him, I met this young guy in Budapest who was just about to do the dailies, you know, so he was the one grading some tests, and he was super keen, super hungry, spoke amazing English, and we played around in the grading suite on a big screen, you know. So that was I mean, if you shoot a film for the big screen, I would highly recommend you to do all the gradings on a big screen and not like on a small television. So, you know, together with him, we created several LUTs actually. So we you know, I found out that, you know, for night, especially around candlelight, I need a different LUT than when I'm outside in black and white. You know, so basically what we did, we even played around. I had like daylight LUT, I had a night LUT, and I even had even like a daylight 1, 2, 3, and a night 1, 2, 3. So they were slightly different, and so we always made sure. You know, Flora was our second camera lady. She's here, and so she said, "Which LUT?" You know, so which LUT? Day 1, day night. Which one? You know, so I made sure they all had the same LUTs, because then I felt like, okay, this is what I want to get, you know, and this is the look I'm after. So yes, answering your questions, LUT for me is essential, and creating those before a show like that is very important.
And Piotr, do you do something similar for your features?
I also have 1, 2, 3.
Oh, yeah.
Usually, they vary in contrast slightly usually, and I also use Flanders monitor as my light meter. So you know, all the monitors, they need to be calibrated, so there's no other way. So I just keep sending monitors away if they don't match. So, I mean, this is our tool, our most important tool. Now, you know, back when you had only your eyepiece and a light meter, you could do whatever you wanted. But now there's a lot of people on the set, producers, you know, everyone, and they depend on what they see. So, idea is to get the picture that everyone sees as close to the final effect as you can. It also works great for the director and the editor. If you give them the footage and it looks like it's gonna look, this inspires the editing, and they can make the right choices. I don't know how you do it, but I try to get the LUT as close as I can, but the pre-productions, the vary, they're different. So usually what I do is I finesse the LUT after first day or 2 days. I go back to the colorist, and if we need to, I finesse the LUT. So it's because we are on the set, and it's actually how the movie is going to look. It's not always such a comfortable situation that you can do tests on the location and things like that. So the LUT is sometimes a little off.
So what I am interested in with Antonio is you created a LUT and you were shooting, that was all black and white. How is lighting that different from lighting a project in color? Was there any difference for you? And was there ever doubt from a streamer or a studio that was involved to go back to color?
I think I have a certain lighting style that I like, and which is rather natural lighting. I'm not really good when it comes to like artificial lighting. Some guys are really amazing, and some gaffers I have that I use when it gets more artificial. I want to use these guys to help me. So I'm really comfortable with natural lighting. I like to light with a lot of light or little lights, whatever. But my aim is that it doesn't look lit ever. You know, if something looks lit and you can feel there's a M18 outside coming through the window, I don't like that. You know, so we did some tests and I really, you know, lit the same way. I would light color. Color. I only realized during this prep that lighting for black and white is easier.
How come? Oh, sorry, how come?
Because Because really, if I put like a stupid lamp here and I put it onto this person in black and white, it looks amazing, you know. And if I go to color, the same shot in color, it looks like there's a stupid lamp there, you know. So that's something I found out during the prep, and I was like, wow. So actually, everybody says, oh, black and white is very difficult, and I was like, oh, maybe it's difficult, because it was my first black and white film. But then in a rental house, when I did the test with the actors and actresses, I realized actually it's easier because you can hide the fact that you're lighting something, because black and white, in a way, I found at least very forgiving.
That's very interesting, actually. I think we have another clip of yours.
There are several. Yeah.
Patrick. I think we have one left of the fire, the outside fire.
This is going to show the candles that we use inside for the majority of the film.
Co robimy? Jest. I pamiętajcie, hetman chce go żywcem.
Can you tell me, do you remember what you did there? Lighting-wise, you had the candles?
Yeah, I've put the chandelier in the middle, try to keep the background darker, and that was the idea. No, but to be honest, the stress that I've had was about the candlelight itself, which is a hard light, basically. So it's quite unflattering for the actors. So that was the. I mean, I've done different types, so I wanted to try something new, and it was just using real candles. So I did the best I could. We know that we had the limit of time as well, so putting the main light source in the middle, around the table. Seemed like the best choice that we had in, thinking about the time. So the challenge was basically, with so many light sources in the frame, it was the flares. So it was very important to choose a lens, and the best lens we could find for that was the Leica, and then sorry. So the guys I didn't really care about, but for the lady, for Agnieszka, whom I love really much, I tried to give her a little bounce from the top. So that was really everything I did, just to flatter her, bring up her beauty a little more, because with the canvas was slightly below the eye line, so this is like the worst position for the light, really. So I just didn't want her to hate me, so I tried to help her a little bit. But other than that, we basically really used, and as you can see on the pictures on the screen, we tried to use the natural light. And like Antonio, I just really hate when you can feel the light, the lighting, not the light, the lighting. So for me, you need to be believable, you need to be kind of invisible, build the atmosphere, and work on the audience, but really try to be in the shadows, sort of.
So this camera helps you to do that. But are these decisions also sometimes budget-driven, where there is no money for a big lighting package or the general budget of the film? Do you sometimes need to make decisions based on budget?
All the time, only all the time. I mean, this movie had the budget, and If you prefer, choose to watch it sometime next year, like the candles on the inside, but behind the windows, we see basically 3 or 4 kilometers further back. I had several cherry pickers, and so basically it's like a moonlight outside, and you can kind of see everything. There are no dark spots really outside. I mean, this is how eye works. If you have a very low light level inside, you would see. If it's a full moon, you'd see what's outside. So this was the interesting part, that I had a lot of big lights very far away, building the atmosphere outside.
Stepping away a little bit from lighting, this is still my interest. Has there ever been a mistake made on set with shooting, and when it has been saved in post? I know Piotr has a story about this, when something went wrong.
Every day is a mistake in my case. I tried to survive, but it was a really stressful situation for me. I was brought to Milan to shoot a commercial. So I worked with a crew I've never worked with, and I've met with my technical crew a day before. I talked to the DIT. I told him I want to work on the higher base. It has to be. I only work on the higher base, and I always want to check it. And we go for the 3200 base. Yes. Si, signor. And then the following morning we started shooting, and I checked with the DIT. It's 3200. Yes. And then we used Q-Take as a video assist, so they zoomed in because it was anamorphic, so I couldn't see all the details on the monitor. And so we've shot several scenes, and by lunch I took a look at the AD's monitor, and I saw that the base is 5. What is the base? 800 or 500? What's the base of?
500 and 2,500 or 800 and
800.
3,200.
Okay, so 800, and I just, my heart stopped because I did some pretty freaky things, and I think what's interesting for us is kind of always be on the edge, and that's of technical abilities, and that's what makes the image interesting. So we sometimes, cross the edge or are close to the edge. And so I said, okay, that's the first time with this big director I work with in this production, and it's the last time also, because I fucked up half of the day. So I took the DIT, we went to the truck, and we did like a little bit of a grading, and nobody noticed. So the bottom line was that Sony Venice saved my ass on that day. And I don't know, I mean, I've never pushed so far on the Alexa, but this was like, what is it, 2.5 stops underexposed. So that was the recent mistake that I've done, and I'm sure there are many more to come.
Likely. Antonio, do you have a similar story, or do you never make mistakes? Or your DIT, or whoever you...
No, I mean, no, the guys I work with, they're really good and stuff, and they saved me. I can't remember of a mistake, really. Even on days when I shot on film, which was petrifying, really, especially night shoots on film. I would never do this again. I share the opinion of Roger Deakins, who would never shoot on film again at night. Because if you shoot at night, I tend to light as minimal as possible, so it's not overly lit. But on film, it shouldn't be overly underexposed either. So it's like this fine line between overexposing, between underexposing and overlighting. So that was very stressful for me, always shooting on film. So I'm glad this is over. But in these days, I was very afraid of doing mistakes, you know, and so you go through the whole night having this tremendous anxiety of like with the light meter, making sure you're spot on, and only the next morning when the lab called and said, oh, it's all fine, then it's good. But in these days, I was always afraid of making mistakes, and these days on digital,
yeah,
I mean, it's the first time
we can sleep well.
The first time I hear about that, really. Plus, I used to shoot with Ari really all the time, you know, like since the change to digital. I skipped the whole red period where people went from film to red. So luckily, I skipped that because on a big event in Berlin one day, they presented the new digital red camera. And I was really interested to see it. You know, I was really interested. I'm very open. I'm not saying no. I want to stick on film. I don't want to use this. No, I'm open for new technology. So I went there, and on the monitor, I remember on the monitor, this lady had like green lips, and I said, well, how is this possible that this lady has got normal lips here and on the monitor green lips, and they couldn't like. And this camera, or with the LUT or whatever, they couldn't represent that, you know, what you had in front of camera. And bye-bye. Have a nice evening. Ciao. And so luckily I skipped that whole red.
This was representation of red, I think. So I went the first time with D21 and all the Arri cameras, you know. So I never had that problem of choosing like that base LUT or that base LUT. Only with the Sony, I learned about different base LUTs, you know. So I didn't make any mistakes yet, luckily. So no, one thing I didn't explain on Sony, you set the base ISO and then you can push it or pull it. So. Basically, everything looked fine, and the monitors going through Teradek and everything, so the exposure looked fine. And it was, in fact, but yeah, this is because you'd see that it's too dark straight away, but I couldn't see it because the secondary, I don't know what the technical name is, the secondary ISO, they've set to 3200.
The exposure index, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Basically what you see. I read the room before we started, and there's quite a few students. And when I was a student, I'm a focus puller. I graduated a long time ago. But what I always was very keen to hear from working DPs is, what is your get out of shit equipment that you bring with you? What is the piece of kit that you always order? Is it like a Dido light, or is it, I've always got a macro lens with me, or a diopter? Is there anything that you bring on every single shoot? It's going to save your ass.
Warm shoes and warm clothes.
Not sure.
No kit there, no?
No, moisturizer, a lot of moisturizer.
Moisturizer, yeah, for sure. For sure. I think...
No, there are things that we like to work with, I'm sure, but it comes on the kit, basically. And my Flanders monitor,
yeah.
I try to work with one AC when I'm in Poland, or if the production allows me to bring my AC, because it's just easier. They know everything I like, but of course, I mean, I for the last several years, I've been here and there, and you meet new people. But I just order the Flanders that I know I want to work with, and I calibrate it. And
so AC is more important for you than a gaffer? Because I would, if I have to choose, I would take a gaffer. I mean. Sorry, I didn't mean that.
So, no, it's an excellent question. It's a terrific question. My gaffer doesn't speak English, so learn English, you guys. So I can't bring him. I love him, true love. We did this film together. We've done most of, like, for the last 8 years, every Polish film together. He doesn't speak English.
Mm-hmm. No, so basically...
Your get out of shit can also be a person that you bring, I would say.
I mean, for me, a gaffer is a very central role. You know, it depends. You know, sometimes it's very simple, and I can just work with a best boy or whoever. You know, it's fine. And sometimes, when there's certain lighting setups that are more tricky, a gaffer for me is like a really central role. And to come back to your question, so basically monitor. Monitor for me is like super important, as I mentioned before. So I would make sure I get either a brand new TV Logic, not LED, not OLED, or a Flanders. You know, so that's something I cannot compromise.
And you guys both work quite internationally, and you travel. How do you keep yourself interested and updated with new stuff? So how do you guys do that? When you start your career, you're like keen to know everything, and now you're shooting.
We come to CAMERIMAGE.
Ah, yeah, that's right.
We learn everything here. Yeah.
I think it's time actually for some questions in the audience. Oh gosh, help me out, guys. Who's got a question for either Piotr or?
Yeah, and guys, and for those questions, I mean, of course, we can talk about LUTs and ISO and all these things, you know, but I think those festivals also should be there to talk about, I don't know, like mental health and how do people feel and anxiety and how do I feel between two projects. I'm thinking, okay, my career's over. I sometimes feel, you know, those are like the juicy things that matter rather than ISO and ISO base and stuff. So if you feel like wanting to share something or wanting to know our opinion about your anxiety, we're here to help you, okay?
I saw two questions actually. There should be someone. Ah, there you are. Thank you very much.
Sorry, what's your name?
My name is Adam.
Adam.
I wanted to ask a question to both of you, but especially to Piotr, because I saw so many of your movies and your work is really inspires.
So Adam,
just one?
You won a prize for being the brave one who asked the question first. You got a hat from CAMERIMAGE.
I love it. Thank you, thank you. So I saw a lot of your movies and your work inspires.
I'm kidding. Don't worry.
Yeah, but straight to the question. You as a DP who creates really good image to tell a story, and also this image is really flattering and good looking and stuff like that. How often you have to compromise with different departments on a production that you choose to do, let's say, worse image, but or less flattering, but still this image tells a story, and this image is still good for other department and good for storytelling?
That's an excellent question. Thank you. You know, my biggest flaw, I think, as I think of myself, is that I always put the film in general ahead of cinematography. So I'm not a great cinematographer, I gotta tell you, and I would say I compromise every day. So there are scenes that I know that are really important, and I try to push as hard as I can, but it means not making the day, then I need to compromise. And so I have my scenes that I know that I need to really make, and I'm working on being, you know, just saying, no, we can't do that. No, it's too dark. No, we don't have enough light. But once you come to the set, like 90% of the time, you know, something doesn't work out. And you know, you have the actor only on this day. It was supposed, the scene is written as sunny, it's raining, or you still have to shoot. Or, you know, or the costume didn't arrive, so he has different costume. And you know, every day is a fight, and you need to learn to improvise and just try to, you know, come up with something. You know what this scene is about, and you know what meaning it has in the puzzle of the whole film. So you gotta, you know, try to achieve it as good as you can. But I would say it's me, so I try not to stick to what I've come up with. And you know, once you're on the set and everything starts falling apart, you just need to react and you know, make the scene really. Because if you don't, it's never going to end up in the film. So, and I wouldn't say, you know, just do anything, because if you can't, you can't. don't do it. But if you feel like you can save the scene or come up with another idea, like on this film, Kos, we shot it in June, shortest nights of the year, and it's mainly nights. We're inside. I've ordered like big tents around the house because it was supposed to be surrounded by Russian soldiers, so they couldn't escape. So the tents had to have, each of the tents had several people in there and a little fireplace. So we could shoot, you know, during the day, night scenes. And I was making sure, you know, I talked to the production, okay, so we're gonna have the tents tomorrow, because it's tomorrow when we're shooting. Yeah. The director and I, we come to the set. There are no tents, but also we're missing one actor because they forgot to bring him on the set, which is several hours from Warsaw, where he lives. So these things happen even in the best productions, and we ended up not doing anything until it got dark. Yeah. So. But basically, you touched a very important thing for me, because this is something I fight with. But when I go to sleep every night, I'm very depressed of how much I fucked up the day and how much I could do better. Yeah. You wanted to talk about, you know, psychology, and I need help. Yeah. So I'm opening up, but this is, I mean, my biggest problem is I'm never happy with what I do, and so I mean, I guess it's okay.
Thank you.
Antonio, do you want to answer the same question, or?
Yeah, I mean, when I did my film, you know, all my friends who work in TV series and features say, you know, you have so little time to shoot. You have to get like, instead of like 7 seconds per day in commercials that I'm used to, you have to do like 7 minutes per day. Are you able to do this? You have to compromise all the time and stuff. And so I thought it'll be very hard for me to compromise. You know, I thought, oh my God, you know, if I have to start compromising, am I still feeling what I'm shooting? You know, am I not going to be happy with what we create? You know, and for some reason, because we didn't have much light to work with, I guess, and we were quite minimal, it didn't feel like we had to compromise a lot on that film, you know. So I was actually, for the first time, actually myself, you know, I was actually quite pleased what we're getting, you know. And I'm not saying because I'm saying this because everything that was presented to me in front of camera, I found so incredibly sexy, like black and white. These amazing actors and actresses in those amazing costumes, in hair and makeup, you know. So my only job was to like put the camera there and put some natural minimal lighting and the lens of choices I took and the LUT and stuff, and all of a sudden everything just fell into place, you know. So every evening, sorry to say that, you know, but every evening I got the images from the DIT and I thought, oh my God, we did this, you know. So I was really, really pleased every single night, and that kept me going, you know, going through this quite intense and long hour shoot, you know, knowing what we're getting is gold every single day, you know. But again, this is also like the sexiness of black and white in a period, in period, you know. If you shoot like 1920s in Paris, it's beautiful, you know.
I think we're going to see a lot of black and white.
One thing, I'm sorry, I'm slow, but I've thought of a good answer. So I think one thing you should not compromise on is having the tools that you really need. Because I always, like, for years, I always felt sorry. I'm like, Jesus Christ, I need 2 cherry pickers. How am I going to say this to the production? No, if you need them, you need them. So you need to fight for that. And fight for the crew that you know that will support you. And, you know, if you have a worse day, because it happens, maybe not with Antonio, but I have better and worse days. And you have a crew, they can, you know, they have your back. And I think this is the most important, not to compromise on. But, yeah.
Amen. That's, yeah, if I might. I was wondering what were the breakthrough projects that you had, what were the circumstances behind them, And was it like a film school project, or you met some kind of people on the festival like this? And thank you for the atmosphere. It's one of my favorite seminars so far.
Breakthrough as in I guess you're a film student, and when you started to work, is that what you mean?
Yeah, I mean like where your career started to set up. Like.
That's a good question. Well, basically, I was in film school. I was at the Film Academy in Baden-Württemberg in southern Germany. That was where I was born. Also, so it was just around the corner, basically. And during film school, it's very important. It's not so important what you study, but with who you study, I think. You know, so the people you study with are the people you start working with, I guess. You know, so while we're doing student films, we started shooting music videos, and at the time there was like MTV and Viva like hitting off in Germany. And there was a big demand for music videos. You know, now it's just horrible. Where do you place music videos? So back then when I started, luckily, like 2 major channels opened up, and there was a big demand for music videos. So we shot all of these Euro trash, like techno music videos, like, you know, and then, we had some really nice friends that were like hip hop artists, and they were like the first credible German hip hop, you know. So we did a really nice music video with a very nice director that looked like, we took Deer Hunter as a reference, and we shot in some lake in Karlsruhe out of Stuttgart, some jungle Deer Hunter style music video, and that music video went #1 in Germany, and everybody knew it, you know. So this was exactly the time when I wanted to transit from music video to commercials, which was impossible at the time, and for some reason it was really difficult for young DOPs back then to transit into commercials. So when I showed this music video along with other techno shit I did, they said, "Oh, you shot that music video," but yet it took over half a year before they trusted me to shoot a commercial, you know. So only then there was like one big director at the time, the biggest director, for some crazy reason, I don't know, I still don't know why, he trusted me to do a really complicated commercial. It was so complicated that when I met him and he showed me what to do, I said, I was sweating, dude, I was sweating, and I said, this is something for a big DOP. You know, it's so technical, I can't do it, you know. But I learned one lesson in my life very early, that I will never run away from anything. You know, even though I'm so shit scared, I will not run away anymore, which I did in the past once, and I regretted that all my life. So I knew I had to do this, so I did it. I went through the pain to find out how to solve this, and it was like I couldn't sleep for days. And when I did that, that was like when people believed, oh, now he's a, and that's the stupid thinking of people out there, oh, now he's not a music video DOP, now he's a commercial film DOP. So I guess that music video and then that commercial really started my career, I guess.
Thank you.
I think I'm still waiting for my breakthrough project. No, but to be honest, for me, it happened, I was operating for a long time, and I worked with many great DOPs. And after one film that I've operated, the director called me the next year, and he said, I want you to do my film. And I was terrified, and I was like, I didn't know what to say, because I loved the DOP I worked for. And the first thing, I said nothing, and the first thing I did, I called the DOP and I said, listen, I don't know what to do. I got an offer from the director, and it's not fair, you should do that film. I feel terrible. And it was Krzysztof Ptak. And you know, his reaction was amazing. He said, oh, I'm so happy, do it, I believe in you. And this is actually how I could spread my wings, because I had his blessing. But yeah, I was like the worst moment, the greatest and the worst moment of my life, when I got the first movie offered as a DOP.
Thank you. You already have the microphone. Go ahead.
I happen to. I have a question for both of you. I'm on third year in film school, and usually during the vacations I try to do one short film, about 20-minute one. And during this summer, I challenged myself. I basically took a challenge that I happened to come across to shoot 2 of them. Which proved to be really, really difficult because I could have all the prep I need for the first one, and then for the second one, I really didn't have any time to like properly prepare my work.
As a DOP or?
As a DOP, yes. And so the thing you, Piotr, said about the pre-production, you only had 3 weeks to prepare for this film. How do you guys manage, many projects at once? How do you manage really small turnaround times for pre-production? What is your key to success in not having a lot of time and having a lot on your plate at a single moment?
Don't do it.
I was hoping to not hear that answer.
It used to be youth, but I can't do it anymore. It's just after this film, I was like gone. And you need time to do it. It's a process, and you want to be fresh because you want to. What I do is I treat every film as my first film. I try to, forget about the last project I did, every other project I did, and find a language, visual language, that is right for the story that I'm doing right now. So, but it's gonna happen to you. You have sometimes back-to-back projects, and I guess we're all different. And it was exciting for me that I need to focus and I need to come up with everything, and it was harsh. And then it was my first collaboration with the director on top of that. So, but basically what it meant we worked over Easter because it was I came back from the project in London on Easter, but we worked over the Easter. My wife wanted to divorce me, and it's you gotta choose your priorities.
That was my main struggle, really, to get all on my head, because I really felt depressed right before the shooting of the second one.
How did it turn out?
Decently, I think. I'm not fully satisfied with my work, but I think it turned out okay.
But then
we'll see. I'm before the coloring process for now.
But then on the other hand, sometimes I also feel it's just a process. You do this film, and of course, this short film, and you think, oh, this is like the most important thing of my life, this short film. And then, sometimes I feel, yeah, it's important, but it's a process. You do this, and then you do another one, and then you do another one, and through all these, experiences, you grow and you learn and you get more secure and stuff. So even though I said don't do it, maybe fuck it, maybe just do it anyway, because it's a process, and maybe it doesn't turn out so nicely, maybe we don't have to especially you guys, especially you film students, really, like my film school is so competitive, when I went to film school, everybody walked around with like a big can of film, and showed, and like showing off for shooting on 35, big can of roll of film and stuff, and everybody tried to produce something which you can broadcast immediately on during a commercial break or on a music video. Nobody dared to make any mistakes anymore, And the film school, my film school, is still like this, And I feel like if you have time to experience and to experiment and to things that you can never do out there, do it in film school, So just do it, Then maybe you're not prepped enough, but there's also a learning experience, that you gain from every project, which is a process, some experience,
As Antonio said, never give up.
Never give up.
Thank you.
Can we pass the microphone on all the way to the top? Blue sweater. Go ahead.
Hi, hello, thank you. About those mental health questions.
There you go. Now we're starting.
Do you still struggle with the imposter syndrome at your level? And if you do, that I think for Piotr it's yes. How do you struggle with it, and how do you fight it?
Well, basically, on every single project I do, not all of them, but the projects that really matter to me or that are technically difficult, I think, all right, so with this project, finally, I find my peace because everybody will find out that I can't do it properly, and this is going to be my last project, and then I'm relieved from all that stress, you know. So and I guess it's super normal, you know. I think everybody has that, you know. I think everybody in this room thinks, oh my God, if I could only do the work that this guy does, you know. And then if you go into the head of this guy, you know, he says, oh fuck, if I could only do the work that this guy does, you know. And this goes all the way up to the ladder until you reach Leonardo DiCaprio, and you go into his head and thinks, oh fuck, Matthew McConaughey, this last film of his, fuck, you know. And I think this never stops, and I think it's so human. I think it's like the most basic human experience that we share all together, is that we're never satisfied with what we have. You know, you always want more and better, and you're never satisfied. You know, once you do like the film you always wanted to shoot, and you shot that film, and now you're at home, and you have like 2 weeks off, 1 month off, a year off, whatever, you know, you've already start sometimes feeling bad, you know, like, what's next, you know, so this is something that we all have to overcome, you know, not sure how.
I think you still have to keep it, actually, because that makes you a great filmmaker, to always go for more, the next level.
I think
it
so
keeps
too.
you passionate,
especially
and motivated.
Especially if you're unsatisfied with yourself, you think, oh, you know, I'm not happy with what I'm doing. You know, why am I shooting such shit? You know, if you feel that and if you struggle with that, it's actually the best sign for you that you want to grow and that you want to achieve something better. You know, so by having that thought already that you want to achieve something better, you get some energy going, you know. And I'm not talking about an esoteric way of energy, you know. I'm talking about, you know, everything you do is energy. You know, if you feel like I want to do this, then your speaking will affect that, and you talk to people about I want to do this, and that will get some chain going, you know, and you get a reaction from people. So, you know, you know, whatever you put out there, there's always a reaction, you know. So if you're unhappy with what you do, you communicate with others what you really want to do, and then you find the people who, you know, so, yeah, so I guess feeling bad sometimes about this thing is really helping your personal growth, really, you know.
Yes. If I can add something, you gotta have your priorities, and I think I would be much more depressed than I am right now if it wasn't for my family. So. For my family. So when I became a father and I had my kids, they're the reason I just turned down a project in London, because I want to spend time with them. And they made me realize that film is not the most important. So you got to have your priorities.
Thank you.
Front row.
Hi. You've kind of answered my question a little bit, but how do you choose your projects? So I'm sure you're both in the position where people are coming up to you. How do you choose which ones to say no to? Is it always the script, or is it the people who come up to you, or like people you want to work with, or is it, like you were saying, something that's a challenge or different from what you've done before?
I don't know how to say no, so I go meet everyone, even if I hate the script, and I have my agent say that I can't do it because I have different duties or something. I mean, it's the worst part of the job, because I'd like to do everything, and yeah, but it's I don't know how to say no.
Yeah, so I mean, this was my first film after like 20 years of doing this. You know, so the other films I did was like TV, like a TV movie I did just right after film school. So I wasn't, you know, I was just focusing on commercials and music videos the last 20 years. You know, also because our daughter was born, and it would have broken my heart to leave for 5 months, and so I really chose commercials and music videos. So choosing those, you know, there's different reasons why you choose a project. In those shorter forms, it's easier to choose, I guess, because you get the call, you can leave in 10 days, you come back after 2 weeks. It's easier to choose, and then you choose the script first of all. Location for me in commercials is like a big factor. If it's a shit script in Thailand, I take it. If it's December, I might take this more easily than. So, but now,
if you don't, give me. I'm ready to go.
So now, since I'm like really like putting my attention to feature films, since I've done that, and since our daughter, she's big enough, and
how old?
She's 18.
18.
Yeah.
Wow.
So now I feel like it's easier for me to leave.
I thought you were 18.
Oh, thank you, sweet charmer. And so when it comes to scripts, of course, I will only choose the script. I was offered. I mean, my film hasn't been out yet. Nobody knew about this, so I didn't get much attention, and I didn't get many scripts. Hopefully, this will change after CAMERIMAGE. But recently I got offered 2 scripts from Germany, and it was just talking heads, and I thought, making feature films is so exhausting. You dedicate a lot of your life. Basically, the whole project, you're a slave to the project. There's no spare time. On a Sunday, if you're lucky, in Budapest, I could take the bicycle and go drive around and go to the lake and swim and stuff. But usually. So if you choose a life like that you're gone for 2 months, 3 months, American TV series, 7 months, 8 months, it's inhuman, I think. So if you choose to do that, it has to be something that keeps you alive. If you have a script that is horrible, with people that are horrible, and the stuff you get in front of camera is horrible. I don't know how I would survive. I couldn't do that. I would just keep doing my sourdough bread more professionally and become a baker, I guess.
I'm into cooking as well.
Oh, let's talk about that a little bit. Yeah. How old is your sourdough, mother?
Let's see. How many questions have we got still left? We've got the ladies here at the second row.
Hi. I'm here. Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yep.
First of all, thank you. I agree. It's one of the favorite seminars so far. It's fun and I really enjoy it. Finally, I can relax and listen it. And the question is another mental health question. I'm a second-year student, and I was wondering, during the first year we had to shoot a film. This year the same. Would it be shooting a film like running a marathon, then you get depressed, then you complain to your psychologist, then you take another marathon, and it's all over again? Or it's just I'm doing something wrong?
Sorry, I didn't get how you feel.
No, it's just basically you're working a lot and writing a script and doing that film. Mm-hmm. And it takes a lot of energy, as you said, and everything. And then you get so exhausted that you kind of get, I don't know, overwhelmed and just depressed, and it's really pressing on the mental health. Yeah. Just don't touch me.
Well, I think it's very important to have recovery time. I think even when I did commercials, I made sure. And I wanted to spend time with my family. My wife is there, actually. I've been with her since 23 years. We're still married happily. So, and this industry is full of divorced people, and for a good reason, because most people are never there, and who wants a partner who is never there? So I made sure, my limit was 120 days per year that I'm gone, which is still a third of my life, So by the time my daughter was 10, I spent, if you make the maths, I was gone 3 years out of her life, But it was a healthy level to work and earn the money for the family, and yet have enough time to recover, So that recovery time I find is very, very important, you know, so it's very important in those times to find something that inspires you, which could be, you know, I bake bread since this year, you know, and this makes me so happy, honestly. I mean, beyond, I mean, you have no idea. Like when I know I wake up and I know today I make the dough, I bake the next day, I wake up with happiness, you know. So you can find whatever you do, you know. We have a garden, so in the summertime, that garden makes me super happy, you know. And so I think it's very important to find something. Also, meditation for me was a very, very important thing to do. And while I was doing this film, I had 4 days of anxiety because the lenses I wanted, and I'm not mentioning any names here, because they're out there, they didn't work for that film for whatever reason, and that really just shocked me because I was so clear. I used those lenses.
Did you change the lenses, or?
Well, in prep, I had very short prep. I had a month of prep, and after 2 weeks of prep, I did the lens test, and it didn't work at all. And at the same time, my daughter spent half a year in Italy, an exchange thing, and she was so super anxious. Her anxiety level was off the roof, you know. So, and I tried to introduce meditation to her, which Papa, I don't know, you know, she didn't want that. But there, for the first time, I said, listen, you know, a tool to get you over this anxiety is meditation, you know. So I shared things that I found online and on, you know, in like those apps and stuff. So I shared that, and that is my way, you know, during a film, you know, when I'm super stressed, you know, I know, you know, this is like my harbor to go back to, you know, just sitting down, you know, observing what the fuck is going on, rather than being in that thunderstorm of emotions and thoughts. You know, I tend to like sit down and observe, like, what is it? Like not being in that storm, but just stepping into the house and close the windows and look out to the storm, you know, and overcome those feelings, you know.
There is a time when you actually can kind of balance, but so far I couldn't find that balance. Because of course I have a college as well, so I'm doing film, college work, everything. Mm-hmm. But do you have like, let's say you're making a film for half a year and you like just run a marathon, and then you have relaxed time, or you have balance all the time? When you shoot a film as well, you can kind of balance, and you're not running a marathon.
No, it's important during the project to find those times. It's very important, you know. Like during prep, sometimes you go crazy, you know. You start shooting in 1 week. You start shooting, and whenever I find a moment, you know, I just sit there, mostly in the sun, you know, find a space in the sun, and you know, and just try to relax. I think it's very important to just balance out, you know, the craziness of our industry. You know, I think without meditation, I think people just go crazy in this industry, to be honest.
Thank you.
I think, I mean, the bottom line is, if shooting makes you happy, if it does, I mean...
It does. It's just like a lot of time and exhausting, no time to sleep and eat and everything.
Because you need to have that. I mean, you need to have fun, you need to love it, because it's a very hard job. And if the answer is yes, I mean, maybe I haven't given the impression, but I'm the happiest man on earth when I'm shooting, and I'm 100% focused on the film, and I'm involved, and it's the happiest time when you're there and when you're shooting and it works. I mean, this is the best feeling in the world.
Yeah, I love it, and I also don't know how to say no. So it's hard, because like you want to do everything, and you just like fuck the sleep, fuck the food. I'm gonna do everything, and it's not right, but gonna have to learn that. Yeah.
And I'd like to say, coming from your answer, I'd like to say thank you to all the wives and husbands, girlfriends and boyfriends of cinematographers who are surviving our job, and that we're bringing home our insecurities, our, you know, everything. And thank you. Without you, we wouldn't have survived. My wife chose to go shopping instead of being here, but I'd like to thank Antonio's wife for being here.
Thank you.
I think there was one more. Oh, there's so much more. In the back. Yeah, all the way in the back. Where are the microphones? Let's go to the back. I just want to say one more thing to you. No is also an answer, because I feel very passionate about mental health in film, because I've been in the industry so long. You do not have to do everything, and your career does not depend on that one thing that you say no to. If you feel like you need a break, you should take a break. If you want to do the project, you should do the project. And I think for everyone that I know in the industry who's been in there for so long, you have to be a little bit crazy, and it goes up and down, but you have to love it. Otherwise you won't survive, and if you love it, you will survive. And please, if you're tired, go to bed. In the back. Where is the microphone? Where is it? Oh, it's all. I'm sorry. I'm gonna pass. I'm gonna. What?
No, if you have a question.
You have it already now.
Okay. Hi, guys.
Let's put the other microphone. There's 2 microphones. Let's make sure that goes to the back, or is there for the next question. Go ahead.
Anyway, thank you for this conversation. This seminar is really great. I enjoy it.
Thank you.
And I have this question, and it's very subjective. I'm on the 4th year of studying cinematography, and I feel that it's very hard for me to give up the camera operating. Sometimes I have to, but mostly I'm operating myself. I wanted to ask you how you feel about it, and because it's experiencing the first raw, right, emotion, and I wanted to ask you how you like to work and if it's depending on the project. Yeah, thank you.
But why do you want to? Why do you have to give it away?
Well, I'm not running operator, Steadicam operator. Sometimes with Maxima and Armorman, I have my friends to do it, but mostly I'm doing myself. So
it's tough. It's really tough because you're very. I'm very particular with framing, and framing is so. I mean, Flora, please excuse me. Sometimes it's so hard to explain. Like somebody frames like this, and then it's so intuitive. Framing is so intuitive. If that seminar would be about framing, I wouldn't know what to say because it's so. There's no rules. There's just how you balance a frame, and So if you give this to somebody else, very rarely. I mean, I have one Steadicam operator in Berlin, Joshua Berkowitz. He's amazing. I mean, he frames something, and I think, wow, that's how I frame.
So mostly you do it on yourself, camera.
Framing, I always operate the camera, always. And if there's a second camera, then I get the help of like amazing talents like Flora, for example, who's a DOP herself now, actually, and But yet, framing is so particular, and sometimes when you have drone people, and you're next to them, and left, right. So it's very intuitive, and it's very difficult to give that away. And if you have luck and have amazing people who share the same sensibility about framing, you're lucky, but mostly you're not. And then you just get the headset and say, left, more left, stop, up, no, down, and then you have to control your image like this,
Yeah, thanks.
How was my brother?
Your brother?
My brother operated for Antonio.
I mean, this family, honestly, his brother, he was an operator on a commercial 11 years ago. I did in Poland. He's a DOP, amazing guitarist. Like in breaks, he showed me some riffs. I mean, he plays Bach on the guitar, And honestly, for real, and brother DOP, father was a DOP, grandfather DOP. I mean, that's why I love Poland, because it's such a tradition for cinematography. Good for you guys.
But to answer you, I was operating for a long time before I got a chance to be a DOP, and I thought I wanted to focus on the light and so I hired an operator for my first films, and I was a nightmare for these guys because I was really picky about the framing, about how the camera moves, because I came from operating. So then when my operator was great, he became a DOP himself, I started working myself. But recently, I had a 2-camera job, which I hate, but as a rule, when there are 2 cameras, I never operate because I need to be in control. And I hired a guy who I fell in love with, and he was, what Antonio said, that he is it's as good as I would do. This guy is better than me. So I hope. His name is Adam Leonard, and he operated. He operated Philip, the movie that's in the main competition this year, and I just want to do all the films with him.
Yeah, thanks.
I have a question for Peter. Here. I can see that you're going with like visual special effects on the sets, like you're shooting real guns on set, you're burning houses, and I know it's really hard to find a specialist who can pull this off. So my question is, do you have like your own A-team in your pocket? You can just throw it out for every shot, and you can like go. If you don't know how to do it, just learn to do it, or do you are building teams for every like shot from the begin with?
Maybe we can play the last clip of the burning house, but you know, the DOPs are not in charge. I mean, you mean SFX, right? The things that are done on the set.
Yeah.
Well, I just, you know, by the experience, I know who's good and who's not, so I can recommend. But we're not, the DOPs, we're not in charge of that. So we can have ideas, but you know. This is something you get, and for example, on my job was in London several years ago. We had the worst SFX team because they tried to save money, and like we had this huge storm scene that was very important and they just couldn't do it. So it's very important to pick a great team, but you know, you're either lucky or not. Możemy ten ostatni klip puścić, który tam był z płonącym domem, poproszę. But we did. I mean, in this film, what was interesting is that like the main fight happens at the end of the film. Jest tam ktoś z tyłu? Taki był ostatni klip. To bym go puścił, jeżeli jest możliwość. And the challenge there was because the house was going to burn for real. It's a pretty big staging with a lot of people fighting, and we were promised that it's going to burn for an hour, so we would have an hour to shoot that scene. But I knew, because I like to burn things in my movies, so I knew that it's either too hot, so you have to, you don't know what to expect. So we would rehearse the scene for the full day, and then we shot it, and it was 12 minutes. So the house vanished, basically. So we were able to do two takes, and maybe you get a chance to see it, maybe you don't.
Patrick, are you here? Ah, he's not here.
But we can, you know, move on maybe to another. But I wanted to answer one of your. I told you I'm slow, but because you asked a question, how do we find out about novelties when we're working all around the world? But this is actually how we learn, because we've got new crews and new, new equipment. Every country is different, and this is the best part of the job, is that you get to learn, because I try to learn whenever I am. So I'll tell you where I don't think it's the whole scene, but this is where we lit the house, and you can see as the scene goes, like every other take is already, the house was like a torch, like a match. So you can see the difference, like from 5 seconds ago. So we had two cameras, one longer lens, one with wide lens. I was able to get both Venice 2, because that was the final scene, so the production agreed. And we would just, for the second take, we swapped the cameras, because there was no time to swap the lens. Yeah, you see how the house disappears, basically. And it was, this is the actual set where we shot. So all the interiors were shot in this house, and this is the speed of how it burned. But this is, I mean, this is always like, you never know, it's a gamble. Because you never know how big the fire is going to be, what the exposure is going to be. You might not notice it, but I had like 100K soft sunlight just to fill in the shadows so that I could have some details in the fire. So, you know, but you kind of never know until it burns. And when it burns, it's too late. Thank you for the playback.
The microphone is all the way up there.
Hello. I'm very curious about your process of working with a director, because obviously at some point there's like a clash of personal preferences and styles. And I'm just wondering, where do you place the boundary between this is what I got hired for, this is my style, and I need to make the director happy, and also what's your detailed, like what do you decide on first, how do you build that relationship, and how do you compromise on that, what's your workflow?
I think the most important rule really is to work with good directors, number one. You know, and if you work with bad directors, then you're already in trouble, basically. You know, so if you are lucky enough to work with really talented people, and directors, they're out there, they're like from super visual to not visual at all, and both can be good, you know, or bad, you know. But basically, I see our job, and that's a description in my horoscope, actually. It says, you know, we're like the strong force in the second row. That's what we are, you know. So we're in the second row, you know. In the first row is a director. That's his film, you know, and we're there to support his vision, you know. Hopefully, this is a vision that you can share. Hopefully, this is something, maybe this is something you haven't done before, but you still like, you know. But, you know, fundamental is that you trust your director, you know, and that's beautiful. I mean, if you have a director that you trust and whatever he says is something that you love, that's like the perfect scenario, you know. And if you have a director that you love and respect, but he wants something else that you don't like, you know, then like James Marsh, you know, I was lucky enough. I mean, I liked everything he said. You know, whatever he said made complete sense, and I really wanted to be there for him to get this thing to life. And that's our job, you know, as a DOP, we bring things to life for a director, you know. And sometimes when they have certain ideas and they share them with you, and you don't feel this at all, you know, you can always express that, you know, you can always express, you know, the way you see it, you know, and James Marsh was always open to that. He said, great, let's do it like this, you know. That was a really lucky collaboration, and so where do you draw the line, you know? So if you propose something which he doesn't like, you know, or she doesn't like, then directors are the bosses, you know, so I guess, you know, you have to deliver, you know. And, you know, to be honest, maybe like, you know, then like 4 weeks down the line, you see the editing and you think, actually, isn't that bad what he thought? You know, maybe I was too stuck in my head, you know, what I think is right and wrong. And sometimes when you have some distance to certain things, even like bad lighting or something, you think, oh my God, I'm gonna pull all my hair out. This is horrible, you know, and then 4 weeks later, you see some sort of editing and you think, oh my God, I was like so obsessed about something, and really isn't that bad, really, you know?
Yeah, yes. I mean, this was a great answer, but about the collaboration, I mean, every director is different, so it's a little bit like romance, you know? You have to feel how far you can go slowly, foreplay first, and you know, if there are several ways of manipulation. So the best one is to pitch. If you really have an idea that you like, the director doesn't like, just pitch that idea slowly, step by step, and then few weeks later, he thinks it's his idea, and he comes up with the idea, and you say, yeah, great idea, let's do it. But yeah, I mean, I'm making fun, but am I? No? Yeah, I have a rule, I mean, great directors, they know, they listen. So, and I always try to have the conversation, honest conversation about the script, what I think works, what I think doesn't work, what I'd love to do. And if the director says no, I have a rule of 3, which is I bring up if I really kind of don't like something, I try 3 times, and then I shut up and just do the scene. But as Antonio said, most importantly, it's the director's film, and we are here. The cinematographers are there to support him, not only with the pictures and with the vision, but as a human being, and just to make their life easier. But if they don't want your help, there's nothing you can do.
I think it's time for one final question, or this was the final question. Let's have a look. Just to keep it short. It's kind of dinner time. No? Have we got a microphone for him? That's the last one.
7. 6 o'clock. I missed the film. I want to see.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask you, here, first row, yeah. So I wanted to ask you if you have any advice on like leading your team, because like as cinematographers we have to often lead a very many people in our crews, so it's important, I think.
It's a very tricky one, and it's a very good question actually, and you live in a certain country and you have like the people you trust and work with, and when everything goes smoothly, and mostly it does, it's great. And then you travel abroad, and very often you have to use crews locally to save flight costs and the environment and everything. So you use a local crew, and that's a really tricky one, because you have certain expectations to a crew and how they operate, and I get quite frustrated, and it's really tricky to. Like, where's this line, do you show this frustration, or, so it's very important to, like, really communicate with people, so if you show your frustration too much, like, how do you, I'm sure there's books about how leaders have to behave, and how, and how to, like, keep the people for you, that you need everybody on set, so if you piss them off because you're too frustrated, they don't want to work with you. I mean, they do, but they don't give the best, so even if people make mistakes, and everybody makes mistakes, everybody. My wife's mother says, what is it? If you work, you make mistakes. If you don't work, you don't make mistakes, so basically if you work, it's only natural that you do mistakes, so you have to be very diplomatic, to communicate with people what they did wrong. But as a friend, not like as somebody who's like shouting at them and like, you fucking idiot, like telling them, listen, I see things like this, and can we, and people wanna please you. I mean, you want to please your director, your gaffer wants to please you. People want to please other, people want to do a good job, and if they don't, it's only because they do it differently than what you expect, and how do they know what you expect? So it's all about communication. Film is all about communication,
I think respect is a very important thing, and if you should let your crew know that you respect them, listen to them, and what I try to do is to, when I get a crew together, I ask them questions, and we talk about the film, and it's called technical crew, and it's a terrible name for that, because they are partners, and they support you. And for example, in a movie I shot, Corpus Christi, one of the scenes is the idea of my focus puller, and he came to me, and what if we did this, and he came to me. I sold this idea to the director, and you know, it's so he's like a co-author, and also he's, you know, if you're close, he's not afraid to come to you, either the gaffer or the AC, and tell you, listen, I don't think this works, and this is the best you can get, and if you're not afraid of you. And you know, if I'm in another country and it's a new crew, what I do is before we start shooting, I always take my crew, the entire crew, out, and we have fun together, and we drink and whatever makes us happy, and then we have a bond when we start shooting. And I think it's, you know, we already know each other, so I think that relation is, for me, it's very important, and I love to be close with the people that I work with.
Thank you.
Thank you,
That's it.
Piotr.
So much fun. It's finished
yeah, we've
already.
talked quite a lot, actually. Thank you, Piotr, and thank you, Antonio. Thank you for listening, guys.
Thank you, guys.